Alright, is that showing? Have a it's coming up. Are you getting audio from it? Test 1, 2, 1, 2, test 1, 2, 1, 2. Alright, we got there. Sorry, just a bit stressful. Some medical reasons.
And then for the presenter, how do the presenters access?
Oh, that can stay on. That can just be on.
It's also it's
Just leave it on, otherwise it's just
at 6 o'clock. Perfect. Thank you. I think
share your screen.
Yeah.
This is it. So whatever you do on here is display.
So the presenters, when they want to share, so we've got that guy, so to speak, he just plugs his laptop in.
Yeah, just plug his laptop in.
Cool. And it plugs from Mac as well, because G's going to do that right from Mac.
Oh, we need to get the attachment. But yeah, you just unplug, see how it's going offline, and then you just plug it. And it will do that. That's what you do.
Cool.
Alright, let's just come back. We need to get the Mac attachment for this. Yeah.
So yeah, you can see it's offline. And just to confirm, you don't want me to put this away, you just leave it as
Leave it.
So we'll finish at 9, so just leave it as this.
Got
Cool.
it's like right up there.
And downstairs is open, so people can just open the door when you come in.
Yep.
Cool.
Very quickly make sure this works with that background now.
Alright. All set. Thank you so much, guys.
Alright,
What did we figure out from like trying to get the studio thing working?
questions for Josh, I had nothing to do with it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, that's correct.
Cool. Alright, sweet.
So whose laptop is that?
That's yours. I just picked it up and plugged it in. It's a Mac OS.
Alright, so it works. I can just get you to do the welcome from mine. And then are you talking to me?
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. Perfect. Cool. Still broadcasting.
It's alright, I can run the same bit, which is the only one I was worried about. There we go.
Bring that forward. It doesn't have to be right back there.
Define that, mate.
Like you've
What is
got
that?
this camera sitting back on
Okay,
the
so the
table.
table. Okay, but you need to be more specific than that.
The table keeps going back down. Like, it's fine.
Cool. You don't need that extra share.
Good.
So I just go
We have to plug in. Just be mindful. This is actually just picking up what's happening on the display. It's not doing dual display. So whatever you've got on here, it's not picking up two displays.
as long as it's working.
So you have to do this. Whatever's on this screen. This is gonna-
Doesn't matter if it's not here. I think that this is not
Actually got that laptop on my so it's gone. Yeah,
it doesn't matter if it's not streaming to us, as long as it's there. So it kind of
so it's your laptop, that's what the problem is. It's not picking up a display from my laptop. So it's not really, it's just like display every person and something from because otherwise you're going to be doing this. Yeah, this is what. Yes, so every time someone comes up, you need to change the display. You just use one computer. I wouldn't use yours because I don't know the settings for your display.
Okay. So then maybe choose.
Now this is not working. I don't know. I would actually just say just use the single laptop that we had before. I wouldn't be changing laptops because it's not very fun.
Cool. So how do they plug in
They
the
bring it on
slides?
it. They bring it on USB.
Okay, cool.
I'll give you USB because now, yeah, this is now not working.
Cool, that's fine. Can we bring that laptop back there?
Yeah, everyone needs to get one of those.
Okay.
Not all of them. I mean, there's none here. There's like half a dozen. So it's not like, they all go and walk about here to there. It's just those two.
Okay. We'll do that. We've actually got 3 different companies. All got USB-C.
Oh, what? Oh, what? I already did that, buddy. Don't worry, it's 6 steps. I did that. I'm submitting this.
Sorry, Josh. Hey, Josh, the other problem that we have. Yep, so shall we just do a trial? This is one of our speakers.
Try it. This is the first one as well.
Cool. Do we want to just test your laptop?
Yeah, if that's possible.
Yeah. Just keep it right. I would just pick up the profiles because they've got this one.
HDMI.
Okay.
All right. It's a bit too sunny yet. We've just got to wait till it's dark, right?
We'll turn off the lights.
Yeah.
A nice ambiance going.
Okay, just to display on the single screen.
Yeah. You don't like the split screen thing?
Or it's up to you, but that's the only display that it's
Yeah.
display. So it's up to you about anything you want to hear, what you
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Cool.
All right. What am I doing for the welcome? Is it okay for us to use your laptop for the welcome?
If you want to, yeah.
What's your email? Oh, no, I've got it.
Yep, you've got it.
Here is the expansion.
How works? Thank you so much. So this is the spare one.
Yeah.
Okay, and the live streams are going. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just confirm that it's going just online. You can just check that out.
Yeah, I've already checked it on my phone. It's good to go.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thank you so much. Since I already set up, I might just be
Go first. Oh, before, yep, all right. Okay.
Is it all going to be using the machine?
Well, the others aren't quite here yet.
Okay. I mean, we'll start at 6:30, 6:30.
Yeah.
So just, yeah, half an hour.
Yeah,
Give it
okay.
6:45. So.
All right. Well,
Today's pretty, the agenda's pretty short, so.
cool.
I just keep checking and email you something.
Maybe you should unlock the door because there's people waiting outside.
I think the door has been unlocked. It just needs to be pushed, but I'll go down shortly.
Yeah, and I put it on.
You couldn't. Okay, I'll let you know.
You sent me something, this is an email from Brett earlier. Thunderbird.
Okay. Just if you refresh it.
It just takes a while, doesn't it, when you're sitting and looking at it. So how's things with you?
Good.
Yeah,
Good. I'll be back in Tuesday.
okay, yeah, it'll come through.
All lowercase, no punctuation, no space.
They want it all on one laptop.
Oh, you want laptop?
And we're going first. Because we're here and we're set up.
Okay.
Actually, it must have remembered it from last time, some time ago. So what I need to do, your deck is in here, isn't it? It's just the not going to be.
It's yeah.
All right, I'll do another one. Yeah, you can. I just need to get your code, right? But we can do that. We can sit on it. Not till about 6:30, 6:45, something like that. So we've still got some time. So we've got that, which is fine.
It's just like a to be.
Did you publish the thing?
Yeah,
So we could just use that, right?
we can actually. I'm thinking. Not instead if you use an MPA restore, what I only empty execution. Sure, just like a few.
Yep, all right, let's do that. Let's sit on the couch. Hey guys, here you go. I'm Mike, this is yours. I think we're going first because we're here. You was too close. Yeah, we've got a team up front.
Yeah, we're gonna do it together. We're gonna talk a little bit.
But we've got to get it all on one laptop, so we've got to do some merging.
Okay, so
It's alright, you'll be okay. That looks okay with the you can go. Okay. Oh, there it is. So I just need to print. Hang on. This gets complicated with Google logins. And I'll switch to Firefox, which I use for that one.
It's good that the new Macs come with the full HDMI, yeah?
Yeah. For some reason, my Mac didn't work, so I was just like, why?
Hello. We're about to kick things off, so if you can all finalise your drink selection and food selection and get seated, and we'll kick the proceedings off in a minute.
All the other options. I mean, you could probably transfer
Okay, thanks everyone. Welcome to the React Melbourne Meetup, hosted at the Kogan.com offices. Thanks for taking time out of your day on such a lovely afternoon to come here. So I'm Goran, I'm the Chief Technology Officer at Kogan.com. We run and sponsor this meetup. Well, it's lucky that I get to sign off on sponsorship for it, which is good. Makes it easier to run. And yeah, we've got a good lineup today, the last one for the year. Please, if you haven't already, help yourself to something to drink and eat. The restrooms are through a corridor over there. And hopefully we can see the screen with the sunny light. One thing I was going to touch on is that it has now been 7 years since this meetup started, and so we all think like we're all these cool modern React developer people, but we're actually like now dinosaurs. So that's pretty impressive. Like it always feels like we're playing with the latest and greatest, but it's been now 7 years of this meetup, and React's older than that. So it's pretty interesting how time flies, and I can see faces here that were, here from 7 years ago too. So that's also scary that we've known each other around for 7 years. It's also been growing massively. We have 4,822 members. Obviously, about 98% turned up here today. So I might have to get Elon Musk to just check my bots situation out in the meetup. But there is a lot. I don't think they're bots, but I think there's a lot of interest in this topic. So it's really good that we get a good turnout. And thanks also to all the people that put their hand up and all the effort to speak. It's really appreciated, and it's not super easy to do so and take that time out of your busy schedules. So today we've got Bath, who's going to go into React Native. That's a bit of a new one for you to demo. He's going second, okay. Oh, I guess this was your device, so that made sense. Should have figured that out. He's going second. And we've got Mike, who's also both long-timers in this group, who's going to give us a bit of a showcase of React tips that they use. And this is going to be a 4-part series. So we've got Pat, Yun Lee, and Richa, who are going to all join in on that one. So welcome Mike to the stage and kick it off.
Okay, ready? Sorry, I'll just grapple with the technology and get it working. There we go. No, not that one. Okay, here we go. All right, we're here, React Melbourne, great. If you want a Kogan cap, you have to have come 3 years ago, or you have to see Anita. Anita will sort you out, right? But you have to apply for a job, right? Just kidding, just kidding. All right, so tonight we have an interesting set of talks. I am the least prepared. These guys have been rehearsing all day. Good on them. I'm ad-libbing because half the slides I wanted in here aren't here, but that's okay. I'm good at ad-libbing. So we've got me, Pat, who needs to come up here pretty quick sharp, Richa and Young Lee. We're going to talk about Cypress, the testing, and in fact this is kind of a pretty testing heavy talk. We're talking about ways to do things that end up making life easier for you, which is what you want, right? So Cypress testing, container pattern, and components, and doing an NPM module, which is kind of cool. So a little bit about Back to Dev. We're a startup with a difference. We incorporated in April this year with my co-director Theo's there. Oh, come on, put your hand up. More. That's it, yeah, okay. So our mission is to kind of help people transition between coming out of some education, be it a boot camp, a career change, do free code camp, come out of uni, and you've got no experience, so how do you get a job? The recruiters say, come back when you've got experience. Like, oh, shit. How do I do that, So we're trying to fill that gap and helping people come and volunteer with us to start with, work out whether they want to do this, hopefully get a paid internship, and then sort of get to the point where they're good enough to actually hold down that job and they've got experience. The recruiter will go, okay, yeah, you've got 12 months of something. That's okay, we'll give you a job. So we're trying to couple being like a technology company and providing services with that training methodology. So the idea is that we would supply a team, ideally, in a project, and we would do some work, and we would have maybe a couple on the team that are juniors and rookies, and we'll bring them up, we'll make them do the hard stuff. All right, so that's enough about Back to Dev, and we will go next. Pat, you're on. All right, so hopefully you'll be able to hear Pat if he stands close enough to the mic. It sounds like it's pretty sensitive. All right, so I'm doing the buttons, right?
Yeah.
Okay, ready, go.
Hi, I'm Patrick Harmel. I've been working for Mike for 5 years now, and I've been back to Dev for about a year. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to talk about Cypress today. Next slide. Why Cypress? Cypress is a automated testing software, and it's really good for end-to-end testing. And also, it's just JavaScript, so it's not that hard to, I guess, pick up, and it's a bit easier than C#. So Cypress uses jQuery, so you can use like the P as well as the P class. So but it's best to assign IDs to your React. Assign IDs or use data CY on your React components. Because if you use like the classes generated for your components or or nth child, it'll give like errors that won't pick up the specified component that you have in the test. So that's like something. This is code that's in there, like you can have in Cypress tests. There's and the before and after function. The after each function, it stops Cypress from keep going from when it fails. Because if you don't have that, Cypress will keep running after it fails, and the before function will refresh the database so you can run the test each time. You won't have to worry about conflicting data. So this page is this page is an example of assigning data CYs to components, and also what a test could be in the test file, and it logs into the platform to use. Yeah. So you can create your own functions in Cypress. And like that with the add address, or you can create a function for uploading a document, which is the API, which I'll talk about later. But you can create high-level components by using this add address and by using this add address and putting more code onto it as well. And you can have that in like a different script. CY.wait is evil and it's bad because if you have many of them in your Cypress test scripts, you will drastically it will like hurt its performance, and it'll become slower, and also like it's not reliable. So if you have like a CY.wait in your test, it might fail after. And so this is an example why. This is an example of how you can like avoid having to use a CY.wait, which is the loading function, which gets a skeleton, and then like it waits for the skeleton to load, and once it's loaded, it'll go find the header, which has no properties. So with the API calls, like I said last time, you can upload a document with that. And here's like code to upload a document, and it also like this. And you can also do many other things with the API as well. If you like put it on your React project. And
we're going to do a demo.
Yeah, we're going to do a demo now on the Cypress test script.
I forgot to get that link.
Oh.
Let me go in quickly and do this. Live coding is good, right?
Yeah.
All right, email login. Let's hope it works. Hey.
Yeah, so it works. Sure will. Oh,
It needs a 2 account, doesn't it?
I think so.
Let's find another one.
Chris, Request doc. Oh.
Okay, we're not having a good time here, are we?
No,
Let's try another one.
maybe email lookout.
Or maybe let's try an upload. No, it's not going to play. All right, well, let's have a look at what did work. So do you want to talk about what's going on?
Sure, yeah. So, like we load the Cypress script and it gets to the login page and it looks for the login on H1, and then after that it goes to the My Property page and it looks for the address as well, and then it goes through and clicks on the address and it will go into the listing on the next steps page, which will click the, I think, what was it? Is it click the upload? It adds a signature. It uploads a document to add signatures to it, and then it fell in the uploader.
So basically, what Cypress does is it has this time travel option that you can basically look at every step of the workflow, and you can even inspect the DOM at that moment in time as well. So it's an amazing tool for you can run a script and something breaks and you go, okay, well, what happened at that moment in time? So, yeah, very good. All right, so meanwhile, back to slideshow.
So Cypress for a while was like the only automated test software out there, but now there's two other programs that you can have. There's Playwright and WebDriver. You can have a look at those at your own time there. Any questions? Yep.
The project that's been used for Cypress testing, the real estate one, is that open source? Is that?
No, it's
No,
not,
it's not.
unfortunately, no.
Yep. Yeah.
One problem I had when I started using Cypress was it doesn't work well across many domains. Like if you're doing author, so it seems to want to peg itself to one domain. Has that been a problem for you?
No, because we're sticking
Yeah,
with
yeah.
one, but
We're
it is
sticking
kind
with
of a problem, yeah.
Any other questions? No.
All right, any more questions? Go. So, next up we have Richard. You can drive yourself, right?
Hello everyone, I'm Richa Pujara and I'm an intern at Bike to Dev. Thank you so much today for having me in here. Today I would be talking to you all about React Pure Component and a container component pattern. So a bit of an overview about what we are going to cover today. What are these? Pure components and container component pattern, how we can use them, and its applicability in real life. We are going to look a bit into a storybook as well, which is a wonderful testing buddy, especially for UI components. And lastly, I will conclude my thoughts. I have a very short journey of being in this development world. If I look back, just a year back, I was knowing nothing about coding or software development. I'm a career changer. And today, I would like to share a little bit about what I learned in this year. So let's start with what it is. So, container component pattern is basically a React design pattern which allows us to separate the application or our code into two kinds of components. Container components, which are basically the smart components, which does all these, which handles all the application logic, or like it calls the APIs or fetches the data or saves it or do with it. And second kind of components, which are the presenter or the render components, which know almost nothing about where the data comes from. Their main responsibility is to deal with how the data is presented. So a container component does all the work and it passes down the data to be presented by the render components as props. We can test this components with a wonderful tool called Storybook. We can provide the different kinds of data sets and we can see how they would look like or how they will be presented without actually changing our code. So it will give us a good idea on basically on the display part and the user interaction part. It also allows us to log the actions, like if you want to save, if you press the save button, how it's gonna work, or what props it's gonna take. So let's try to understand this container component pattern with an easy example. Here is an application which does two parts. It fetches the data of dogs images. It also renders the same data. Everything is hotpotched into the single application. I know you guys are doing, most of you would be working with the React for a very long period of time. And when we have this fetching and rendering in the same code, it makes it very difficult because we need to mock up the data for testing, especially for UI testing, where we usually don't need it, but it becomes, if we can provide the data simply, it makes a testing part very easy. So a better way of doing it is to use the container component pattern so that we can divide our code into two parts. First is this the presented or render component, which just deals with how the data is presented. The data is given in the form of props. And the second one is the container component. Here we can see that the dog images are fetched in this component and it is passed down as props to the dog images presenter component. It's a visual of the dog images container fetches the data, passes down to the dog images, and it then renders it. In real life, sometimes we have the complex applications in which there are several components which are sharing the states. This pattern is useful in that as well. We need the pure components and we can wrap them up into the context, which can be pure as well. And so basically container passes down the data in form of props to the context, and then context is passes down its data in form of props to the pure components. In our application, we had 4 components: list, add, edit, and view. They were sharing the state, and using container component pattern made it very easy for us to test individual components. So this is a screenshot of our application list component, which is associated with view, edit, and add components, and it shares its states with them. So I would like to show how we can use Storybook to test these individual components. This is the list component. So if you want to, and it is rendering some of the data, if we want to see how it will affect if I change the input of the data, I can simply change the input and it will show me the results on that. I change the item 1 name to Richa and it is changing it into the output. It is mainly useful for UI components. Here in this one, if I want to change how would it look like if I change the header from the left side to the right side, I can simply change my input in the props. And can decide which one suits me the best without actually changing the code. So it gives me the flexibility to play with different kind of UI. And when I finalize on my decision, okay, this is the one I want, I can simply go for it, change my code, and it saves me a lot of time. So when I look back into this experience, and I think it answers one of the biggest questions for myself, why we need to use the container components. And the answer is very simple. It gives me 4 wonderful reasons to use this container components. First, it gives a great separation of APIs or application logic from presentational part, which makes the components more reusable. It also makes it very easy to test them individually for UI purposes. And it also helps me in when my components are sharing the state. And last but not the least, it makes an app structure very easy to understand. Especially for newbies like me, it makes it easier to read the code and to understand how this application is actually working, what is passing down, where it is passing down, and how it is rendering. So to conclude that, I have used this pattern for a small while, but I'm in love with it. If you feel that this pattern is suiting to your application, please give it a go. You might fall in love with it too. Any questions? Yes.
How have you dealt with, say, resharing logic that you put in the container previously? So if you've got a container that's fetching everybody's photo and then you need it somewhere far different, how are you taking that code and reusing it again in a different container without duplicating it?
So, I'm sorry. Can you please repeat the
No,
question?
you go. How's it go?
I'm sorry, can you please repeat the question?
So say you want to use the container twice in 2 different places, how would you split that code, like reuse the fetch function where you've done some logic, maybe filtered it to make it the right order, and then you want to reuse that, but it's in a different location, so it's not.
Yes, so for this one, we can simply change the present components and we can reuse the entire part.
Okay.
So,
If I can jump in, sorry. We've done that like for account details that you want across the application, that you have a context and you put it in the context, and that context is basically shared in different places. So the container or the wrapper container at the top level probably fills that context, and then a component may use multiple contexts to get different bits of information in the app. Is that kind of what you're looking at?
Yeah, exactly. I've seen somewhere people stuffed so much business logic into one container that it became a nightmare to use it.
Yeah.
And then they weren't using context in that particular application. But yeah, I can see context helping solve that.
Okay, cool.
any other questions?
Can I do a quick poll in the room? Who has heard of the container pattern? A few people. Who uses it? Good percentage, yeah, okay, good.
Thank you.
All right.
Hello everyone, and I'm Yun Lee. Same with Rachel, we just like a career changer, and we just recently finished our code academy study. So lucky today we got Henry today, and he didn't even realize us here. He's here, and that's really big support from you guys. Thank you. And yeah, for today, I would like to talking about the shared code. Maybe you guys already know that, but I try my best. Okay, first, as we all know, never trust the intern. That's a big problem, especially for us, the developers. Unfortunately, I'm into here. Sorry. So let's have a look at what the intern gonna talk in today. Firstly, we're gonna have a look at a tool. It's called PDF Make. It's a tool to use the JavaScript object to make it as a PDF straight away. And then we have a look at the PDF editor, which is a React application we built during our internship time. And then after that, we're gonna talk about how we're gonna doing this, pull our component out and try to publish the component as an NPM package. So why we do this? Because back to div is basically using React to build most of the applications, and we have a features that need the client need to using for them to much easy to get the PDF. And so because React is using the JavaScript, so we think about if you're using the JavaScript object to doing this will be giving much easy for people to get it. And then after that, after the research, we found out the PDF Make is actually perfect to suit our needs. Let's have a look. This is actually the PDF Make playground. It will be explained what how the PDF Make gonna be working. So on the left-hand side is only pure JavaScript object. And the left-hand side will be only the PDF display. And the PDF Maker will doing the formatting, and will give the features to make opening to opening and print and downloading the PDF. After we got this, we built our own React application based on this one. It looks like this one, exactly same. But there's a few different ones. On the left-hand side, we're using the code mirror to make the code editor, and it provides us the highlight of symptoms. And we're using Prettier to make the code looking better, and we're using debunker make the especially when the user to type in, if they don't need to actually refresh the page all the time. Because we're interns, so we always make mistakes. So we realize we're using different versions of the code mirror until we almost finish this one. And at the last few days, we just like have to change the code mirror from the version 5 to version 6. It's painful because they totally different. So after we got this application, we want to make it more usable and reusable. So how are we gonna do this? The first thing we can think is copy and paste because we're intern. So what we're doing is gonna be like a copy all the components and copy all the dependencies to the new application and make it usable. Is any other better way to do it? So we think, okay, instead of just like a copy everything, how about we just like publish into the NPM package and just like using anywhere we want, like we import React maybe. So how are we gonna do it? So why are we using NPM package? Firstly, it's free and it's open source, and you can publish your own package publicly or privately. And of course, it's easy to use. You can use in any of the framework, and it can use by any people. Let's have a look how to publish it. how to publish our React component. Firstly, we have to get a component, of course, and then we need to using npm int to get our package.json file. This is really important to get this one, because have a look at the package.json. The name will become the package name, and the version will become the version of this package. It's always start with 1.0.0, and the main will be the entry point every time you using it. This is the first file we're gonna be looking at. And of course the dependencies, pure dependency, normal dependency, and the dev dependency will be using when you just like develop it, or you'll be using it when you just like link it to your target application. Let's have a look at what's in the entry point. In this file, you will see it's nothing much. It's just like exactly with what we writing the components, just easy to export it. And then you're ready to publish. So easy, right? And then, of course, you need the npm account. I don't need to mention that. After you log into it, you just need to use npm publish, and then you got your own package. Let's talk about how to use it. We use it like a normal component. It's only one step, just need to install it. We're using npm install and with your component package name, and you use it like a normal component like locally. You just import it and pass all the parameters into it, and they will show it directly. Later on, I will show you a little bit lab code. Of course, before you publish anything, you need to do some local tests. We have the way to do that. You're using npm link. By using npm link, you can just like totally test your package locally. It's not that hard. Okay, so for now, I will do some lab code to show what's in there.
I think we got.
Oh, sorry. Too many things. So here is a pure empty Vite React application.
Make it bigger so we can read it.
Yeah. Is that better?
Yep.
Yeah. So this one's a pure empty one. We basically just build it straight away. And you can see that nothing changed. And when we're running it in here, that's the empty one. And then once you find out our npm package in the npm here, you just like tap what you published. Like me, just like publish the npm make editor. In here, you can just like click inside, and you will see what's in here. The really good thing it's showing here is actually the readme. So it will just like, I don't know why it's not working.
It's natural. Different scroll. So scroll opposite to what you used to.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, good. It's actually not working. Sorry.
Yeah, I think it's lagging.
Yeah, maybe it's just lagging. All right, this is a README. You can see, and you can just like edit this README as much as you want, and you can just like give the installation and give the how to use it. Like here, we just like change a little bit code here. We don't need those one, and we don't need any of this. Mike, your scroll down is not working at all. Really. So how to use your...
What are you doing?
Come on, I don't know. Don't. All right, we clear that. It will be empty. Yeah. So we need to import React. And we need to install this one, or like here, because they're using Yarn, so using Yarn as a PDF make editor, just like install it. Meanwhile, we can just like import, look what the code is called PDF editor from, and I just copy this. Hope it's gonna be working. And what we need to use is const code set.
If you want to state, maybe. You state?
Yeah, use state. Sorry. Tuner is. Okay, so in here we're passing what's it called, the course. We can just using this one as a DD. Hello. Passing into our application.
Is there no DD important?
Yeah, because you have to use in DD when you're using the, because it's actually we're using Eva. You have to put it into a special one. It's called DD. Otherwise, it's not going to be working. It's not going to be read what's in the JavaScript object. So here we can just like use it as. And pass the code and pass the set code. Into it. All right. After receiving it. Is that right?
Line 6.
Line 6. Oh. Yeah, right. Should be okay. And then into here should be display. Come on.
Service crash or not started.
Now go to terminal. Item. It's running an item.
Which one?
Is it the bottom left?
I think bottom right.
This one? Really, where do you run in there? Mike, give me a hard time.
It might be in another tab.
Yeah. I hope next time I can use my own computer.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it's quick for some reason.
Then to, all right. Somehow it's not working. Let's have a look. importing the packages and its PDF editors here.
Do you need PDF make as well?
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Like, it's not working.
We can live debug together.
Go back to the error message and have a look at what it says.
Yeah, it's now. But let's check the error message.
Yeah, sure. So the link to QMap from
It's looking for a PDF make package.
PDF make package.
Do we have that package installed?
It's actually in the components. It's supposed to be it's supposed to be working in there. So
It might be a peer dependency, like if you. My guess would be if you yarn a PDF make, it might work. But
yeah, let's try.
Tell you what, let's just cut our losses, and that's why live coding is valued. When it works, it's a big thing. If it didn't work, it doesn't matter. That's fine. So.
Sorry about that.
only 2 more minutes of debugging.
That's all right.
It's stopped working.
That's
Sorry
all
about
right.
that.
I mean,
Sorry about that, guys. I try my best.
we switched computer at the last minute, so it's fine. Look, I'd like to say a big thank you to our 3 juniors, although Pat's been with us for 5 years, so he's not junior anymore, but, you know, he's getting there. So, you know, all hats off to them. You know, when they first started rehearsing this about a week ago, it was pretty terrible, but tonight looked very good, and you got applause. So, you know, the crowd has validated you. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. More beers, more food, or do you want to go? You're hot.
Need us all.
Yeah. Cool, we'll just do a 5-minute break and then Baz will come back.
Okay, okay.
Thank you. What's the big
Very happy.
It is the lights on. So it is, right? Awesome, thank you so much.
Hello. Alrighty, next presenter, Baz, talking to us about React Native.
Thank you.
All right, hi everyone, I'm Bras. I've done a lot of content creation. Nowadays, mostly I'm working on my YouTube channel, which is YouTube/my name @Bassarat. And I work for a company called Pepperstone, which is building a financial trading platform, and we're building our own app, our own backend and everything, a full ownership of all the technology that goes into making a trading platform. I'm the engineering lead for the team that's building the mobile app, and we are building that with React Native and hence this particular talk. Raise your hands if you use React, because some people are definitely new here, and that's good. That's good. Raise your hand if this is the first time you've come to this meetup. Cool. And that's just look around you. So there seems to be around 50%. Even like last year, I was working at Seek, and at the team gathering, it was like 50% of the people would be new over here, and that's true for most things. There's a lot of coming and going. So if you're new, don't feel worried or anything. You are in good company with people that are similar to yourself. Okay, so half the people are using React, greater than a majority is, but there are some people that haven't used React before. Raise your hand if you have used React Native or are familiar with React Native. Actually, let's just go with that. Okay, so some people are. This talk might not be as good, but I'll try my best. But if you are new to React Native, this talk is going to be excellent, hopefully. Fundamentally, React Native is the same as the React that we know and love. It is still, you're using React over here. This is a very basic React Native application that I'm running over here. And the key difference is that instead of using divs and spans and inputs and buttons, you bring in components from the React Native package. And you are still rendering your stuff with React, but it's just that the components that you are rendering are coming from React Native. And the way React Native works is that these components get mapped to real native components on the different platforms. So for example, if you were to use like a div over here, if you were doing web, which of course you are not, so this is not going to work, it would map to a native HTML div, right? When you are using a view over here, which is something that I've brought in from React Native, it's going to map to a native UIKit view on iOS and a view controller on Android. So the native views, whatever they might be on the different platforms, they get mapped to that. How you run React Native, it's pretty simple. It's like npm run iOS is what I'm running over here. And that's what's booted up this iOS simulator on the right-hand side. I could also, of course, run Android as well, and let's just do that. Let's see what happens. So I can actually run the same code that I've written once and run it on iOS as well as Android. Fingers crossed, it launches. Because I did not launch it before. This is a demo project that I set up today for this talk. Raise your hand if you're familiar with Expo.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, perfect. So Expo is basically something that takes away some of the heavy lifting that I'm doing right now. I'm actually building a native APK and an IPA for Android and iOS. It basically builds its own app, and it just injects your compiled version of JavaScript into that native app, so you don't have to do what I'm doing right now, which is building an active, okay, it's downloading Gradle. Your internet is going to cost you. So let's just leave that running in the background. I'm connected to my partner's Wi-Fi right now. But when that comes back, it'll come back. Let's dig a bit more deeper into what a React Native application looks like. So you can see it's a TSX file. One thing that I really enjoy about React Native is that there's a lot more acceptance for TypeScript, although that's changed significantly for React as well. But for React Native, most people are actually using TypeScript for whatever reason. Maybe there's so many other difficult things that you have to do in Native that you're like, yeah, let's just use TypeScript and make some of that portion of our life maybe easier or harder, depending on your opinion. I think it's easier. Yeah, so let's try and take it back a bit further. Just talking about a view, that's what a view looks like. You can nest views as well. So I could put a view instead of a view. And let's talk about styling. The way you style with React Native, again, one great thing about React Native compared to React is there's actually a lot less churn of libraries within React Native as well. It seems to be very well controlled. Like for CSS, there's no competition of this CSS in JS versus that CSS in JS. It's style sheet, which is actually provided by React Native. this is actually one of the first things that really embraced CSS and JS and proved that was sort of plausible. I'm creating a style sheet within my JavaScript, also TypeScript. And the style sheet contains like names that contain the different styles. I'm creating this name called root. I can put styles over here. You'll get nice autocomplete over here as well because this is all typed by TypeScript. There are very good type definitions for React Native. Let's just put in like a background, which is what you were seeing before. Background color, blue, and put that on the first one. Now I don't think this will work because I haven't given it any size. So styles.root, and you can see I'm getting great autocomplete all along. So when you put a div within a div and you give it a color, is it going to show on the web? It's not, because there's nothing inside that div. So why would that div be visible? Let's make it visible. Let's demonstrate another thing, which is that with React Native, you get a very good flexbox that is reliable across all the different platforms. Once Android comes in, 50%. And so like if I wanted something to take up the entire space in flexbox, I would give it a flex value of 1. And if I assign that to the first view, style is equal to styles.fill, and do the same thing for the next one. You can actually pass in an array over here as well, no need for class names. And style, so that's a class names package if you're familiar with in React. If you're not, that's fine. I'm just passing in all the different styles that I want. I can pass them in an array in the style prop that the different components take. I'm passing in the style.fill over here. So we should see as a render error. But if I do it properly, you'll see a horrible blue on my eyes. Yeah, this is fine. Let's make it light sky blue. LIGHT, sky blue. Cool, that's a bit better. What else can we do? Well, like I said, it's a flexbox, right? So we could put 2 of these over here and make the different one a different color. So let's just call it blue. Let's just call this pink. And let's just call this pink. And of course, this will now be blue, and this will be pink. And they should spread the properties between them. Flexbox works. What else can we do? Let me look at my cheat sheet. You can console log over here, of course. That's not particularly impressive, but that's a demonstration of like, you're building on web dev over here. So your web knowledge of using console.log for debugging definitely still works. It is running in this particular terminal over here, and you can see console log over here got logged. Cannot find fiber with ID something 6. That's constantly repeating. When in doubt, open up the app. Sorry, it's completely unresponsive at this point. Let's see if it is really unresponsive. Let's put another one. Now it's definitely doing something. That's oh, it's somehow decided it's recording. Yes, recorded that video. I don't know how much big that would be. That might be eating up all my disk space, so my machine might be crashing at this point. Do I feel bold enough to exit the simulator? No, I value your time too much. Let's go to the next thing. So we've talked about console log, we talked about style sheet, we talked about view. Notice that this thing over here, there's like you want to display text. What do you think the component is going to be called?
Text.
Yes, excellent. That was a giveaway. So yeah, bring in the text component and I can show some text over here. So within the first view, I'm going to show some text over here, and you will see hello React Melb. And you will not see it because, can anybody see it actually? Yes. You have very good eyes. Are you wearing glasses like me, or do you have very good eyes in general? Cool.
Right on the left top.
Yes, so it's basically getting hidden by the status bar and the notch. And you would need to try to avoid that. And there's a component built in for that as well. It's called safe area view. I don't think you would have been able to guess that. Some of you might have. I would not have. So I didn't ask you. But yeah, so that component exists, safe area view. And what this does is basically avoid the notch if it exists on the platform. Cool. So now you can hopefully see that there's some text there. At the back, can you read the text? Cool, that you're normal. Let's bump up the font over here. So let's give it some, let's just call the styles for the text. We can provide a font size. 20. What do you think 20 is in this case? By the way, can I provide this thing? I cannot. I'm getting a type error. So use TypeScript. It saves you from silly mistakes like this. The font property within React Native does not take a unit. I'm saying 20. What do you think 20 is? Yeah, I would have said the same. They're device-independent pixels. They're going to scale automatically according to pixel ratio. So this device has actually a pixel ratio of 3. So 1 pixel that you're actually seeing is like 3 pixels. So it's not 20 pixels that it will render. It will probably render like 60 pixels of like the lighting modules or something like that. You don't need to worry about that. It's 20. Your designers will probably say 20 pixels, and you'll say, yeah, it's 20, all good. And that'll be fine. So let's just put that in. Style is equal to styles.text, and now it's going to be big. Other things would exist over here as well. I can make it font weight, I guess. Yep, and I can make it bold. And now it's bolder. Now can you read it? Cool, because if you can't, see a doctor. Okay, let's jump to the next thing. Okay, so we talked about style sheet, we talked about views, we talked about safe area, we talked about text. Is Android up yet? Yes, Android is up. Android is running somewhere in this, it's over here. I did not, however, launch my app for some reason, so I'm just gonna ask it to build it again. It should build much faster. So what's happening this time is the app is actually already built, so it's just pushing that through to the Android emulator. Anybody know the difference between an emulator and a simulator? Cool, neither do I. But the emulator is supposed to basically mimic everything that exists on the device, whereas simulator is actually not a real emulation of the device, which means that when you're running the iOS simulator, you cannot do stuff like real notifications. Yeah, it's fine. Another way you could think of this is like if you're running a VM, you'd be running a simulator. This is not a VM per se. It's not a byte-for-byte match. You cannot take an app built for an iOS device and run it on this particular thing, which means that I can't actually use this to play with iPhone games, as an example. So you need to buy an iPhone in order to play iPhone games. I think maybe that's the difference. Anyways, that was supposed to give me enough time to get the Android build going, but that hasn't happened. So let's just continue and just demo everything on iOS. Ignore that cannot find 5 or 6. I will at some point quit this if the Android version comes in. But let's just go with button. A button exists. Again, it came in automatically from React Native. And what does a button take? It does not take children like you would expect. It's actually giving an error over here as well, that I do not take children. And actually, you will be able to see something very interesting over here in the errors, which have gone away. It was actually going to point to some native elements that didn't actually accept that kind of a property. But nonetheless, what it does accept, because I'm using TypeScript, I'll figure it out eventually, is title. If you were to read the device docs, they'll probably have something like title as well, which is why they've gone with this name. But let's just call it click me. And now we have this button that you can click. It doesn't do anything. Anybody want to guess what function I should pass in as a prop to handle the click? What would you do if it was a browser button? What function, what prop would you type on? Oh, damn it gave it away. Cool, it's not on click, it's on press, because you're dealing with presses. So there are some things that you sort of get an idea of that you're on a native device level thingies and not on a browser, even though you're using browser web tech. So I think there's alert module, yes, and I can alert some message over here. Stop clicking me. That should pop up. Cool. It's just asking me to do this. Is everybody else stuck like me? Okay, jump to the next thing. But if Android was running right now, which I think, why does this recording not go away? Just go away. Thank you. Android, yes, thank you. So you can see that the buttons actually look different on the different platforms, although it doesn't work on Android right now for some reason. I seriously don't know. This is normally not. Okay, now that I have one thing working, but the other one thing is not working perfectly, so I still can't quit this without risking this entire demo tanking, so I'll just continue. You can at least see that the UI looks different. And that's because if you were to use a native button on the different platforms, this is how they would look like. But you probably don't want that. You probably want a uniform experience. You can actually see that text looks different as well. So you probably want to give like a color to this as well, which I'm just going to call it black, because just make it consistent, right? So you have to think about what the native choices might have been different from the different platforms and just make them your own if you're building your own common design system and not following the platform design language, which at this point a lot of people don't follow, just because having cross experiences has become so common. Like if you look at the Amazon app, it doesn't look like an iOS or an Android app. That's just the nature of the beast at this point. But yeah, but the button does look different. How do you solve this? Well, there's a separate component which gives you a very low level primitive that you can customize. There are others as well. I'll just go to the lowest level that gives you everything, pressable. And within this, you can actually put whatever you want. So for example, I could put in a view over here, and I could style this view, and let's just give it, I don't need to use a style sheet, I can use inline styles as well, just like you can in React Web. Height 100, width, probably not required. I'll just put a text and see what happens. Text press me. I have a pressable over here. Text style is equal to styles.text at this point. Seems like a good choice, just to make it bigger. Cool. And there's no hover, of course, because you cannot hover with your finger. You can try it, the device doesn't accept it. That was not a good joke. But yeah, so yeah, the press does not hover on this, but press is working, believe me. How do you know it's working? Because I can type in an on press over here. And if I could copy it properly over here and paste it in, I'd be able to press it, and you can see that. It's got me again. It's just, okay, next thing.
Does it work on Android?
Yes, oh, good. It was actually not working before, right? It's not refusing to, okay. Quit. And let's see if it boot up. The lesson here is don't use Android. Okay. The next thing, how are we doing? So we looked at buttons, we looked at pressable. There's other components as well, like there's a switch over here, which would be very similar to what you'd expect. It's a toggle. It takes a value, which will be a Boolean, so I'm just going to make it false. Let's just do that to render it in false state, so you cannot actually change it. Yep. See, it tries to change, but you can't. It's got me again. The next thing that I want to talk about is Flipper and debugging. But before I do that, there you go. Now Android's booted up properly. Fun fact: once something does boot up properly, don't exit it, like, because you don't need it, right? So you've built the app, and this app is actually talking to another thing that's running on your platform called Metro. This thing over here. This is what you could call the Webpack of React Native, very well maintained. The first time anything got fast refresh, which is amazing in React, it was actually Metro. Having a walled garden sort of gives you these cool things that always work, although, yeah, I'm not going into politics. So we've got the Flexbox, we've looked at Switch, we've looked at, of course, if I were to like on click, I were to change something, it would work. On press, actually. On press, on value change. Cool. See, use that shape. I won't jump into that too much. There's also this thing called Flipper, which is also from Facebook. Same people that gave you React and React Native and Meta and Metaverse. I don't know why that's funny. I'm laughing as well. It automatically connects to, so it's actually disconnected from the device that it automatically picked up. So let's just restart that, Flipper. it'll, because that particular build that's running on the device is running through Metro, it's automatically going to try and connect to this. And it did. So it's found that particular app. By the way, Flipper is also one of the best tools to inspect your native devices. It's not actually specific to React Native, but a lot of the tools that you'll actually use when developing React Native would be things that you would use for native development. If I wanted to actually build a production build, I would be using the same tools that I would be using for iOS, which is Xcode, and the same tool for Android, which is Android Studio. You can do that, of course, from the command line as well, but you need to have those tools installed. But yes, this is pick that up, it's connected, and it should, I could use React DevTools on this as well, and you can see it's sort of connected to those, sending reload Metro to force to connect, it's retrying, it's not able to connect yet. Check other instances maybe and trigger the reload on that. You can press R again in these debug versions to try and reconnect. That's clearly not working, so I'm just going to run iOS as well, which will hopefully connect. And what I will do, because this is the last portion of the demo, is just Android Pie. It says no. Android power off with the thing. And now iOS is not starting. Great, it's booted up. Who loves native development? I love it as well. I actually do love it. It's got its own enjoyment in the sense that you have a very well-defined scope of responsibility. When you're a web developer, your scope is all over the place. With native development, it's like, this is my app, and my user is what I care about, and we're going to make sure that this is amazing. That's what I do at my workplace as well. Okay, so this booted up. This should automatically connect, and you can see it's connected. React DevTools, it worked perfectly fine this time, and you can see that the native underlying things that exist, these are actually not the native things, these are actually still the React components, but you can see them over here. Like this, we started with the safe variable, we added some text, we added pressable, and then we added some more pressables. That's just the internal details of the pressable component if you're curious. One of them is a memo, the other is forwarding the ref. Anyways, but that stuff is there. I should be able to, for example, go to the text component and modify its value properly. Cool. Yeah, that's the end. Thank you, everyone. Any questions? Way at the back.
At what point would you consider transitioning from a React site to React Native?
So the question is, at what point would I transition from like using a web view and putting the website and the HTML in a web view on the app, or building a React Native app which actually talks to native? It depends. If you want a native experience, go with React Native. If you don't have the energy to build a native experience, go with web. I can definitely feel the difference while this app is in use, that this is actually a native built app. The buttons, etc. Like there's a 300 millisecond delay on the buttons. Of course, that can be overwritten as well with web technology, but it's those sort of things still leak out to your, like you hold something too long and it wants to select it, whereas with text component you cannot select it. It's designed for touch. Those kind of things sort of leak out. So if you want the full native feel, go with React Native. If your concern is to get the app out there quickly, you can go with WebView. Go ahead.
So one of the promises of React Native is that, well, I don't know if I created that in my mind, but like they would say that if you have a team that has React Native, you'd be able to share code base.
Yes.
So from what you showed me, it seems like I would have to rewrite everything just a little bit different.
Yes, 100%. So your UI will 100% be different. But all of your underlying things, for example, const get data from backend is equal to mock. This could be the same. This could be where's my text? This could be the same. We actually have this. We have a monorepo, and the backend is, we call it the trading SDK, is exactly the same for the web and the front end.
Oh, this CSS stuff, you have to always write like CSS in React, or like you can use CSS.
No, you have to write CSS in JS. It has to be JS. The reason why is actually these objects are getting mapped to native props by the React Native engine. And the Flexbox thing is actually its own C++ thing. So one of the great things about React Native is that you get Flexbox on the device, because the different layout systems on the platforms are actually different. This thing is called C++, and written in C++ is called Yoga. That's the underlying binary that's actually giving me this uniform Flexbox. And the only reason why that works is because we're using CSS and JS. I had a question over here.
Yeah, what are you using to publish to both app stores?
So the question is, what am I using to publish to both app stores? We are talking directly to the app stores. We're building the APK and the IPA, and then doing the same as you would do normally.
So I've previously used Expo, but they've gone to a paid model now. How are you building your binaries from React Native to?
Yes, so we are using React Native CLI, not Expo, and with that we can build the binaries on the command line.
Okay.
And we're doing that in a GitHub action, and from there we're uploading directly to Play Store and App Store.
How does React Native identifies the different type of screens in terms of the notches, like dynamic island, whatever?
Yes.
In order to know completely.
Yes, I think I got the whole of the question, didn't get the start, but how does React Native know that this is a dynamic island versus a notch? How does this? Yeah, so you could actually do this over here as well. You can bring in like a platform over here, and you could do, for example, if platform.ios. Let's turn this into a thing. Platform.os is equal to, you can see the values. So I could do custom code over here as well, and then I could get like screen width as well as device width over here as well. There's an option for that, which I think is called screen. But yeah, so I could write all of that logic myself there, but that's a responsibility offloaded to the React Native team. So they are taking the responsibility to give me a safe area that is in the specifications for the different devices, although they don't vary significantly between the devices, but to give me, to do the right thing. We trust them to do the right thing, and it's Facebook, they can hopefully do the right thing. Question over there.
What's the replacement for routing?
Excellent question. So this is one of the great things about React Native, is that there's very well-defined patterns. Hey, these are the things that I mostly visit. Hello, Internet. The thing I wanted to show you was, and now I'm scared of showing you my history as well, so I'm going to go on computer. What am I looking at? I'm looking at React Native navigation. It still has my history. Cool. But yeah, so React Navigation is by this company called Software Mansion, SMC. I don't see that name mentioned over here, but everybody uses this. It's very well standardized. The same with animation as well. It's actually it's called Software Mansion. React Navigation should give me the other projects that they have. Yes, React Native Screens is another one of those. React Reanimated is one of those. React Freeze is one of those. It'll actually freeze your screen as you go between tabs, so you don't actually need to unmount your components. Very cool stuff. Topic for another day. But yes, it's very well sponsored and very not as churny as web. Next question. You go ahead.
Yeah, what are you having more fun with at the moment? SwiftUI and Jetpack Compose or React Native?
I haven't used those other things, so that would be a biased answer to this.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yes?
I don't know the space at all, but I don't know if it's too hot technically, but why don't you use Expo?
What would I use?
Expo.
Expo. Paid model, but no, I don't have anything else now. I love it. Why aren't we using it? Because we have the resources of going as native as we want. It's the only answer I can yeah. We'd like control, we have full control. We're doing this entire project to make sure that we are not technologically limited, and this gives us that. There's things like, fine, what am I looking for? I'm looking for a React Native auth 0. I'm sure that probably is going to change as well, but like this is not on Expo as far as I can tell. It might already be changed. Yes, cool, great. But yeah, so you do run into some things that might not be there, but we just didn't want to, because we have the resources to like do it. Next question. Cool.
Is there a point you'd go from React Native to actually like natively coding it?
I wouldn't, but yes. So one thing that would, if my objective was to build an iOS app, I would 100% go native. But I am a web dev, and I'm working with web tech, and I am getting this shared knowledge of we have a website as well. The web SDK can be the same SDK that we run on the mobile. You get a lot of experience from web tech, like this live reload and the awesome power of console log. It's a joke. But if you want like the debug, set a breakpoint, and have that work reliably, and want to have the torture of Xcode building, then yeah, go native. I don't think that that's torture. That's a joke. It's, yeah. Next question. Yes, go ahead.
And is the testing side of things very similar to the talk previous, where it's like that expects this, or you're delving into a totally separate?
So testing on mobile is not a fun thing. So that's web tech has not made its way to testing mobile. That's not because of React Native. Testing iOS apps would be exactly the same amount of pain as testing React Native apps, if you decide to not go full in on the platforms. If you decide to go all on the platform, you use Xcode, you use Xcode XCUI test, you might have a great time. I do not have that experience, but if you want to have a test that checks your app both on iOS and Android, you are talking WebDriver IO, you are talking Appium, you are talking Selenium level tech is what I can describe it as, which is not a bad thing. It's just 10 years old kind of experience at this point. Not the live refresh, command log, timetable debugging. Sorry.
Does Jest work?
Yes, Jest 100% works. Yes, so unit testing, very smooth, pressable, fire events, make sure that they exist perfectly there. Component testing, visually, no. That's a lot of UI is visual, sadly. Go ahead.
Any interesting stories about integrating with hardware APIs like camera and NFC?
Oh, so easy. Everything is so easy. All of those interesting stories are probably in the packages that we are reporting. So like haptic, vibrate, bring that package in. Because we've gone full CLI, we don't have to worry, is it on Expo yet kind of thing as well. Yeah, because it's, if I were to actually go into this package as well, you see this Android and iOS, that's actually all that it takes to build a native thing. You can see that this much code is, now if I was just looking for a Vibrate API, it would probably be one file, and that would give me that native functionality, and then there would be one mapping of that Java object to a JavaScript object, and that would be golden. And someone out there has done that work for pretty much anything I can think of. Go ahead.
Does that extend out to like 2D canvas into 3D rendering as well?
Does that extend you to 3D rendering? No. So don't use React Native for games, sadly. Yeah, but there's this thing called React Native Web View, and it's quite easy to embed and create two-level conversations as well. I can actually go there, Expo. So the great thing about Expo is I can't share my phone though. Interesting. I'm not even logged in. Cool. There's this thing called Web View, which you can pretty easily embed, and you can actually talk to it and get data out of it by post message, and you can do those sort of 3D things frameless. You can embed a web view framelessly within React Native as well, and that can be an option. Next question. Cool. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming. There's a course coming out on React Native on my channel, and there's also a React course that I'm building now.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for coming out. Last one for 2022, and just wanted to say what a great year it's been with the React community. We'll be back next year, so 2023. Watch this space for a meetup from Kogan. And yeah, feel free to stay for some drinks. Otherwise, we should be out by 9 o'clock. Thank you. Cool.
Oh, so you want to do a talk? Yeah. Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm getting used to your message. Okay, well, I'm so sorry. Was it email or what did you? Okay, I'm really sorry, but that's fine. Do you have so I can text you and then because I usually send out Google form and people fill out like but I'm usually but yeah, sure. Thanks so much for I think
You'll be fine, trust me. It's much easier. Easier than much easier. Think of what I could do this. I've seen you separately.
I just wanted to show off my Spanish can tell everything because everything's so blunt, it's so crazy. So crazy. Everything else that's why I learned that in like in high school. The next one, no. I'm not, that's enough right now. It's funny, yeah. Otherwise, look back I never had a word for this, but I don't know it makes it cheap. It's easier
You have to make all the changes to the page yourself. Right? So that was my mistake.
Yeah, that's like
float, so you shake it.
Well, anyway, it's like honestly, I don't follow just what he did you watch it and it's
Steven, can we have yours now? Let's take a photo. Yeah, that's what I want. Yeah, come on. Okay, come around me.
Alright, number one. One more. Alright, I've taken a few.
Amazing.
Yep.
Thank you so much. Do you want to take a photo together? Yeah, of course, come in,
Yeah, the Kogan. We'll do some free ads for Kogan as well.
Come as well, you too. Come on, join us, please. Please. Thank you. You don't have to do it.
Why not? Okay, you're part of the community. There we go. Alright, 3, 2, 1, go. Kimchi. Okay.
Alright, and one with you, Adam, as well, please.
Why not? I'm professional. Alright. Thank you. 1, 2, 3. One more. Like understanding how to code. 2, 3. Perfect.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. I will send you consent form later.
Do you guys come from the same organization?
This, I work for the organization called Code Academy, but Rika and Steven, who is currently finished last week. That's right. Yeah. So you know, Rika, they were both finishing in August, very recently. And look at them now, presenting. No pressure, Steven, no pressure. That's exactly right. I was telling guys how funny it was because I was taking a photo of these two, and you are like, hi, Steven, I don't like it. That's what tell me more. And then you actually said, I was like, oh my god, of course, because we were just going through the process for the placement. We chatted multiple times, but most importantly, I started recognizing you because on your resume you have photos, right? Yeah. So I was like, oh, now. I was like, one of our students. Yeah. I was like, I don't know you, sir. I didn't know you were coming as well, so I was fantastic. How